Well, it's now time for our second race of the day, and it is Groups A and B for the first qualifying heat for Senior Max for the second day of the 2019 BNL Karting Series season. Ilian Brunsils and Emily de Hoys will be on the front row, alongside, well, being ahead of Mick Knowlton and Charlie Turner. Lewis Gilbert and Andreas Herbert round out the top six. Ahead of Felix Janssen, Arthur Horsch, Ben Donkin and Fabian Bock, who complete the first 5 rows. That's 10 drivers in this lineup. 31 in total. Then it's Lorenzo Stolk and Henri Jung. Leroy Jägersar, followed by Georgios Bersis from Greece. Kai Hunter rounds out the top 15. Ahead of Rick Boothorn, Reese Hunter, Antoine Ontier, Teddy Clinton. Hayden Cater starts from 20th position. Victor Plateau in 21st, ahead of Bram Ossevarde, Luca Den Hartog, Vincent van Kerkhoffen, Storm Brouwer, Ben Davis, Brent Verheyen, Alexander Luck starting in 28th, ahead of Victor Paulsen, Clementine Benoit and Marcus Radny from Sweden, rounding out the 31 strong. They now go on to the formation lap. Again, this will be 7 minutes, so the timer has already been set. The red lights will be ignited on the starting gantry momentarily, which they do now. So drivers now making their way through turn 7 on this formation lap. Again, with every single racing start procedure, it is rolling start, so it's 2x2 formation, and it looks like both Ilian Brunsils and Emily de Hoys are starting to slow the field, going through turn 9, and being told to start getting into position. They will need to be in position by the time they hit the red line, just that shows the exit for the entrance for the pits, but also there are 2 cones, one on either side. So your top 10, it's Ilian Brunsils with Emily de Hoys on the front row, followed by Mick Knowlton and Charlie Turner, row 2. Lewis Gilbert, Andreas Herbert, row 3. Felix Janssen, Arthur Horsch, Ben Donkin and Fabian Bock. 7 minutes on the clock, set to count down with 1 additional lap. Drivers now trying to get into the formation. I think 348. Ben Donkin needs to just get into position a little bit more, as the 368 of Marcus Radny is just waiting to file into position. Very good control by Brunsils and de Hoys on the front row. The Senior Max division is ready to go into battle for the first time. Do the lights go out? Do we go racing? Yes. Nice clean start by all involved as we head down into turn 1. 3-4 wide. That's very close indeed. How clean is it going to be? Someone's had... we've got a... Well, that was a quick slide. We've had 2 go off of the outside of turn number 3. This is not rallycross, this is karting. And we've had more skirmishes around turns 3, 4, and heading into 5. 1's already eliminated. That's a real shame for whoever that is. So that's on the approach from turn 4 into turn 5. And at the front of it all, now who is that? If we can get a camera onto the kart between turns 4 and 5 to find out who the number is, that would be quite helpful, because I need to find out who that person is. So Brunsils now, is that Emily de Hoys? Is that Emily de Hoys? I haven't seen her come through yet. No, that is Emily de Hoys. That's the biggest casualty. She was on the front row in that heat. And Lorenzo Stolk has also dropped down the order. Other drivers, Georgios Bersis has gone down the order. Boothorn's dropped down to 28th. So that's Georgios Bersis and Emily de Hoys, I think, are 2 initial casualties, and that's on the very first lap. And after such a stellar effort from Emily in qualifying, that's a real shame for her. So that is confirmed. It is the 373 from the Netherlands. Meanwhile, 29 competitors still carrying on. Hayden Cater trying to fight back from 25th position. Top 10 is being completed at the moment by Kai Hunter from the UK, but has got Leroy Jägersar from the Netherlands breathing down on his neck. Meanwhile, Ilian Brunsils is starting to run away. Mick Knowlton in 2nd, Lewis Gilbert in 3rd. 4th, that looks to be Arthur Horsch, I believe. Andreas Herbert, his countryman behind in the 327, is 5th. Ahead of Donkin, Bock, Turner, Jansson, and Hunter in the 395. That's Kai Hunter, who still has Jägersar for company at the minute. And, oh, we've got more yellow flags. One's been off and nearly hit the tyre barriers off of turn 6. But manages to get way under full throttle and shoots all the way down to turn 7. Brunsils has a clear gap of over a second to Mick Knowlton, make that about 1.2 seconds at this moment in time, as Lewis Gilbert is now trying to get into a fencing fight with Mick Knowlton, with wheels and bumpers, so to speak, as they come across the start-finish line. 4 minutes and 13 on the clock to go, plus an additional lap, and we have a time penalty, and that is for the 3:44. That's Hayden Cater. So Hayden Cater has got a 3-second time penalty. That will mean that he will drop down from 21st position. So 3 seconds, that will put him just in front, well, just behind Brent Verheyen in 26th. So 3-second time penalty handed to Hayden Cater. That could have been for track limits. As Lewis Gilbert has got past Mick Knowlton for second position. Artur Horsch and Andreas Herbert are behind them at the moment. Thank you very much. Just being given some numbers to call out. Paddock announcement for 269 and 299. That is in the OK class. So that's 269 and 299. Yvon Mele and Mads Rees, can you report to the stewards immediately? So Mads not out in a Senior Max qualification heat until after the lunch break. So we have... So I've been trying to keep an eye on the times as well. According to... now the timer is still counting down. I don't know if there's a timing issue of some description, but it says 2 minutes and 25 on the clock. So I'm going to go with what I can here. So Ilian Brunsils has a lead of 1.35 seconds over Lewis Gilbert at the minute. Mick Knowlton third, Artur Horsch and Andreas Herbert very much line astern in 4th and 5th position representing France. Ben Donkin is in 6th ahead of Fabian Bock. Charlie Turner, Kai Hunter with Leroy Jägersar from the Netherlands completing the top 10. Oh, that was a very, very bold move there. And that was, I think, was that for 4th? Or was that a little bit, that might have been a little bit further down the order. So I'm wondering if Charlie Turner and Kai Hunter have changed places. Because that was a very, well, that's Turner in front of Kai Hunter as Mick Knowlton closes up on the back bumper of Lewis Gilbert. Gilbert instantly takes a defensive line as we go into the last 90 seconds. Horsch is still trying to fend off Herbert as we're still having some nice battles. Kai Hunter still battling with Charlie Turner. Leroy Jägersar pretty much with them at the minute. So, last 60 seconds. Rick Boothorn has parked it on lap number 4. So, we've had well, that makes it 3 retirements. With Georges Bersis and Emily de Hoys, unfortunately, coming together and retiring, I believe. Rick Boothorn has parked it. 43 on the clock to go. As Ilian Brunsils continues to lead with Lewis Gilbert, Mick Knowlton, Artur Horsch and Andreas Herbert completing the top 5. Ben Donkin and Fabian Bock round out the top 7. Ahead of Kai Hunter and Leroy Jägersar, who's now jumped up into... 9th position, ahead of Charlie Turner. Reese Hunter in 11th, ahead of Victor Plateau with Felix Jansson, Lorenzo Solk and Ben Davis rounding out the top 15. Hayden Cater, who's got a 3-second penalty, but I think for track limit infringement, will drop down from what is effectively 19th, probably to around about 25th position by my reckoning. Timer is about to expire now. This is the penultimate lap, so we'll have this and one more lap to go. So final lap it is. The gap between Ilian Brunsils and Lewis Gilbert is now 1.335 seconds. But Mick Knowlton still has a chance over the next, I think, probably 7 corners to get past Lewis Gilbert, because now they go down the back straight. Knowlton in the tow of the Scot. But the Scot is still staying in front as they enter turn 7 for the final time. Brunsils just needs to keep it calm and composed for the next few corners as he goes through turn 9. Gilbert still ahead of Knowlton at the minute. And behind them, it's still the same. Well, Arthur Horsch has now lost out to Andreas Herbert, so that change has happened out of my line of sight. So Brunsils comes around the final corner. A checker flag will now be waved for Belgium's Ilian Brunsils in the 308 to take the win ahead of Lewis Gilbert, ahead of Mick Knowlton, Andreas Herbert, Arthur Horsch, and then we have Ben Donkin staying ahead of Fabian Bock at the flag, with Kai Hunter, Leroy Jägersar and Charlie Turner rounding out the top 10. It's a real shame to see Emily de Hoy's being denied any sort of great promise of, at the very least, I think, a top 5 finish there, as she was eliminated on the very first lap. Georges Bersis also retired then as well. Rick Boothorn parked it on lap number 5. So those were our 3 retirements. But Belgium's Ilian Brunsils takes the win by nearly 1.5 seconds ahead of Scotland's Lewis Gilbert. Mick Knowlton takes 3rd ahead of the French duo of Andreas Herbert and Arthur Horsch. Ben Donkin, Fabian Bock, Kai Hunter, Leroy Jägersar and Charlie Turner round out the top 10. Reese Hunter was 11th ahead of Belgium's Victor Plateau, with Lorenzo Stolk, Ben Davis and Storm Breuer from the Netherlands completing the top 15. Henri Jung, Bram Ossevada, Felix Jansson, Teddy Clinton completed the top 19. Hayden Cater, who's got a 3-second penalty, will drop down a little bit further down the order, probably towards the tail end of the field. He's